Oh, I just hit start. Hey, it's the Redeye Stream number 191. We're going to talk a little bit about ghost hunting here with DDF Ghost Hunting and also his documentary. When are you releasing that again to the public?
Haunted Berlin will be out October 30th.
191. We're going to talk a
So,
little bit.
yeah.
Sorry.
So let's dive right into it a little bit. Tell us a little bit about the location you guys went to, because it only had a few shots of it during the daytime. It was an old carnival place, right?
Yeah. It was a mixture between multiple circuses from previous. So I'm guessing like one had a circus and it failed, so another came and kind of bought the location. But also not only that, the location actually was way bigger originally. So it kind of got eventually condensed down to those 3 remaining buildings. But yeah, it was a Soviet military, a Soviet circus in the end. So yeah,
Cool.
Sorry, I'm really tired, guys.
Oh, how old is that site? It looked pretty messed up. So yeah, it looks pretty old.
Let me see if I can find the date for that place. I think it was the 30s or the 40s, but I could be wrong. Give me a couple seconds here. Honestly, I haven't if you get information in the video yet, so I don't have the information. I think it is from the 30s to the 60s at some time. Oh, damn it, where's... yeah, I couldn't the exact date right now is the question. I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. How long have you been doing ghost hunting for? And did you start with your partner? Because I've never seen him before until I watched the documentary that you let us watch.
I've been doing videos for a long time. And actually the ghost hunting was before, because we used to do stunts for what we do now. So originally it was ghost hunting, then it went to stunts, and then now it's back to ghost hunting again. So that's hard to explain because it's hard to explain. God, it's too late for this. We had done a stunt show for many years. I don't remember if we talked about it last time, and everything had to be put on hold. So we did that for 10, 11 years. And then we've done ghost hunting now for, again, I think 4 years, I'd guess. So not too long, I'd say.
Is it like a hobby or something like a career you're really trying to pursue?
Well, anyone who's actually really into the paranormal knows or should know that it's not okay to accept money for doing this, because there's no guarantee in the paranormal. You can't say, well, I will go to your house and you're going to give me money and I'm going to say, okay, it's haunted or not. That's not really okay, because there's no actual physical proof of the paranormal. There's just people's theories and people hoping that things are haunted. So you can't really charge, but people do. People do charge for services, which is completely horrible.
Yeah, like Ryan Buell. Yeah. What happened to him?
Just horrible. But yeah.
What do you think of the Warrens? Do you think that they were true believers, or do you think they were just purely charlatans?
Con artists.
Con artists.
I've always proven to have lied so many times. What was that?
I've always kind of got that vibe from them too, but I always wondered if they had even just an inkling of belief in them, or if it was just all pure charlatans.
Well, if you go online, you can see people have debunked every story that they've ever put out. You just got to look for this stuff. You have to go out and look for proof that they were lying or things that contradict everything they said. And for them, it was all about the money.
Right. So, I kind of figured as much.
Just people have to look for this stuff. Like I said, just Google, exposing the Warrens, or just use keywords like that, and you should find lots of stuff on it.
Cool.
So is that site open to the public, or did you guys have to okay, sneak in there? I'll just fucking say it.
Yeah, that last one.
Okay, fair enough. We'll move on to that.
Yeah. Because see, here in Germany, not very many people believe in the paranormal. So it's very hard to get locations out here because nobody believes in it. So, but yeah.
Which is weird, because you would think with all the history in Germany, the good and the bad, there would be a lot of haunted locations.
Right.
You would think. I mean, as you've seen in the video, you know, those are like the experiences we'll have. Like, it's usually sounds, and it's usually nothing that's like, okay, this is proof. So, I mean, and it's not, honestly, it doesn't happen that often. So,
well, no, and I want to dig into one of the events. I don't want to give away everything. You know, I still want people to watch it when it premieres. But there was one spot in the video where I believe it was you thought you saw a shadow, and it disappeared around the corner. And then it was
going up the stairs from across the, I don't know, arena, I guess. I don't know what you would call it. Yeah. As I came around the corner, it was going up the stairs.
Okay, yeah.
But,
and it looked like you tried to capture it with the camera, but all I could really see is just darkness.
Yeah, we were both trying to see it.
Yeah, if you watch, like I said, as it happened, the camera goes blurry. Like, if say you're watching it like straight on like this, the camera goes blurry, which is total fucking waste. And the one camera that would have caught it was the full spectrum, but all the footage was deleted when I fell in that hole, which that was fucked too.
We were gonna get to that. We were saving the hole.
Yeah, that was really fucked. It actually destroyed my camera. Like, it ripped out the bottom. Like, I don't know if you guys can see that, but I can no longer attach these stuff to my camera.
Oh, so, damn. It looked like it wasn't, it didn't look very damaged in the video. I thought you got away with it, but damn.
Yeah, it ripped the, oh fuck, I don't know what it's called, where, you know, the thing where you can screw other attachments onto it, so I can no longer add anything to this camera anymore. So, yeah.
Man, that sucks. Is there a reason why you guys didn't find an old board or something to cover the hole up? Because you guys passed that hole at least 10 times in that documentary.
Didn't really cross our minds. Like, I had been there actually a handful of times, and it didn't even cross my mind. Like, when it happened, when I fell in the hole, I didn't even think the hole was there. I thought the hole was like way fucking farther down. Like,
hopefully he'll be right back. It looks like he dropped off.
Spirits are out to get him.
Yeah. No, but yeah, well, you didn't get to see it, but yeah, they passed this hole quite a few times during the documentary. But I could totally see how you would get turned around in a dark corridor.
Yeah, I get it. Especially in an abandoned place, you know, it's dark and, you know.
Welcome back.
Yeah, sorry guys, I don't know what the hell just happened. But yeah, it was like I said, I turned out the light just so I could show you guys how dark it is, because we literally could not see shit. That's how it usually is. You can't see anything, and you only go off a little bitty LED screen, and it's kind of fucked.
All right.
And yeah. So,
how far is this property from like civilization? Is it out in the middle of the boonies, kind of?
Well, and real quick, I'm going to address Sherardi in the chat. The link will be being dropped on Discord about halfway through, but I wanted a small panel so we can discuss this documentary with him without all of us talking over each other, and you know the regular show where we end up arguing for an hour and a half and no one gets to talk. I didn't want that to happen the whole show tonight. So anyway, go ahead and continue, Mole. You were saying something.
The location, he was asking about how far the location is. It's a good 20-minute walk from like main civilization. There's a garden store out there, which you could buy like dirt and shit like that. That's actually also part of where the circus also used to be. but it's pretty desolate out there. I mean, there's like a horse track on the other side, but obviously it's like closed. But
So it's like a good mile outside of civilization, then 20-minute walk, mile and a half.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a major highway, but like people don't just like stop or anything.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
I just meant there's no ambient light from civilization to light your way in any way, right?
No, the only light you can actually see, there is a house behind it, which Hicks points out. He's walking down the hallway one time, and there's like a little light that you can see, and he points it out. But other than that, there's literally nothing around.
Yeah, and I do like how you guys captioned that whenever you see the light, you're like, that's a light from the house. They're not like, an orb.
Yeah, or a bug.
That's something you guys actually have to do when you go out and film, is you have to, like, say your stomach's like growls, you have to point it out, like, my stomach's growling, or you make a noise, you guys say it was you. Like in the film, there was a point where there's a noise that's heard, and one of us was like, was that you? And we're like, yeah, over the walkie-talkie. So you always got to call it out, and that's something paranormal teams don't do.
Right. I think that they're trying to build it up, though. You're out there specifically. I mean, you would like to find something paranormal, but you don't want it. But you don't want it to be fake. I mean, you're trying to debunk yourself to make sure that what you find is real evidence, right? You're not trying. You don't want to trick yourself or your friends into thinking, "Oh, this is real evidence." You have
to be very crucial. You have to be very. I didn't mean to cut you off. You have to be very. You have to pick out really, like, you have to. I don't know how to say it. You have to be really hard on whatever is found. I see paranormal teams every day that. It's horrible what these paranormal teams do these days.
Do you think that they go? Do you think that a lot of paranormal teams go in presupposition that they're going to find something paranormal, so that's why they assume they found evidence, or they take what they find and build it up?
I think they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know how to use their equipment. They don't know how their equipment reacts to certain situations. I see people calling dust ghosts all the time, or bugs ghosts, or these streaks of light. They're like, oh my God, there was no streaks of light. Oh, well, people don't realize that photography, your image will streak. If it's dark, your shutter stays open longer to let in more light. And it's little things like that people don't know, and they call it ghosts.
Right.
Question: do you guys ever try to capture EVPs, like voice recording it?
Yeah, we don't use the spirit box because that's total rubbish.
No, that's shit.
But yeah, we do it, not as often as we should. But see, the problem is it's Germany, so any spirits that we come across wouldn't speak any English. They would only speak Deutsch. So, and my Deutsch is scheiße. My German is shit. So it's a little bit difficult. When we did, because Hicks came out here 4 years ago, I think. And this was filmed back then. We also filmed the other Haunted Berlin from last year. We filmed so much. We filmed for an entire month. And he tried to learn a little bit of Russian because we filmed at a Soviet military base. And so I mean, but yeah, depending on how many times we go to a site, depending on what we do. But yeah, we're working on some new audio equipment, so maybe some EVP recording will actually happen better now. But yeah.
Okay. There is a question that all of us had, and we're not being rude here. Just want to preface that first. Why did you guys decide it was a good idea to drink before you went out there? Because it's dark. You're walking through an abandoned building. You could have easily fucking broke your leg when you fell in that hole. I'm sure alcohol didn't help the situation.
That's actually a good question. People say, it's said that if you are intoxicated, whether it be alcohol or drugs, and I don't take any type of drugs other than alcohol, it says it opens your mind up to spirit communication better. Spirits can talk to you better. So there's an excuse there. Plus, most paranormal investigations are very, very boring. It's nothing like people watch on TV. People watch like Ghost Adventures or Paranormal Lockdown or all these other crap shows, and they think, oh my God, that's so exciting. Why would you need anything to enhance it? well, all those TV shows are complete trash and fake, but paranormal investigations are not like that. Most of the time you just sit and do nothing. Like, it's so quiet you'll hear your stomach growl from your friends on your friend's camera. It's so quiet, so boring, nothing happens. So it's a little bit of a mood enhancement for the boringness.
Fair enough. And to be honest, back when I was doing just as a hobby, like I'd go to the graveyard and maybe have my high 8 out or whatever and try and capture something or an EVP. I usually had beer with me. So to be fair, it's just, yeah, we did have that question because it popped up even in the thing. You know, I think you got turned around backwards because you were drinking and you guys couldn't find each other. And I'm like, well, there's an easy way to avoid this.
Oh, God.
Well, I mean, the place is actually quite big. But and that was the first time he had ever been there, and it had been a long time since I had been there. So, I mean...
Thanks.
But, yeah.
All right. No, and I wanted to ask that question as nicely as possible. I wasn't being
it's a very fair question.
I would just, I would think you wouldn't want your senses dulled doing that. I didn't.
Well, like
I mean,
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just saying, like, I don't, like, for me, I don't think I would want to do that if I was gonna be serious about it. Like, I would want to be able to, like, pay attention to things, and being drunk like that, I don't think I could. I don't know. I don't think I could do that.
Well, see, something I always say is if it's not caught on video, like, see, that's why I don't even like talking about that shadow figure, because it wasn't really caught on film. That's why we have so many cameras with us, because a camera is not going to affect how our video, or us being drunk is not going to affect our video, how it comes out, because it's going to record the same no matter what. That's why having so many cameras is always good.
Right.
I mean, alone between the two of us, we had 4 cameras filming it at any one time. Just you know, as we're walking in one time, each person had 2 cameras on them. So I mean,
nice. Have you thought about getting some tripods and hooking up some stationary cameras next time you do an investigation?
We actually usually always do, but a lot of times nothing happens, and the footage is boring, and no one wants to watch a camera where there's nothing happening. I mean,
fair enough.
I have so many cameras. Like, I have, like, within feet of me, I got handfuls of, is there another one? Of, like, these, like, full spectrum GoPro type cameras. I mean, everywhere you go, there's cameras. In my apartment, I have so many, and that's just me, and Hicks has his own. So, I mean...
Nice. Yeah, you've been really collecting the freaking equipment. How much is a thermal camera nowadays? I remember when I was looking at them, they were fucking way too expensive. I never ended up buying one.
They're still way too expensive. I don't even have a thermal camera yet. Me and Hicks have talked about getting one because we don't use that television crap equipment that they use. It's all fake. But we have been talking about getting a thermal cam just in case when we are filming out in the woods, because it seems like we end up filming a lot in the woods. We want to be able to see if it is animals that's making these noises. Last year's Haunted Berlin, yeah, we were in the woods, but the sounds that we were hearing, it sounded more like people walking. And when he was alone in the cemetery, you could hear sounds on both sides and behind him. So, I mean, it could have been animals, but, like, I don't know, it was just too... I don't know. It sounded like it was people. It didn't sound like animals. So, but that is one thing we're planning to get is a thermal camera, but they're expensive as fuck.
Yeah, I was looking at them, and this was years ago, and I think the cheapest one I found was like $3 or $4 grand. I don't remember.
Wow.
Oh no, you can get them a lot cheaper now. In fact, you can even get them for your phones. Like, you attach this little camera thing to your phone, and that's like $300 or $400. But you know, if we get something, I want it to be something good. I don't want it to be like, you know, some piece of crap, you know?
Yeah, no, because that would have been really useful for that shadow, because you probably could have caught that, at least a change in temperature. You know, that would have been interesting to actually see footage from a thermal cam.
Yeah.
Quinn, you've been pretty quiet. Field some questions, man, before I end up opening up the panel.
No problem. Actually, I do want to ask one question. Did you hurt yourself when you fell down that hole, mate?
I messed up my knee a bit, and it tweaked my back. Later in the movie, we do go back to the house, and we climb up this dumbwaiter type thing, which was really dangerous, like really dangerous, because there's no other route to the next floor of this house, and I could really feel it as I was climbing up the stairs. It really tweaked my back, but no permanent damage other than my camera, which
bonus.
Yeah.
When I watched it, it really looked like you'd face planted. So I was actually concerned in case you'd like messed up your face. There, mate.
I didn't hit my face, but when I fell in the hole, I was holding I had my camera set up like this, because I had my main setup here, and then I had my full spectrum and let's see, I had my full spectrum and my IR light, my main camera here, and all that went straight down into the concrete. That's why it ripped out the bottom of my camera. I mean, I'm glad that my camera's not more broken. I can take this camera, and it's my only night vision camera. So it would have really sucked if that fucking broke.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys, the knocking, was it windy that day?
No, not really.
No?
Needless to say, because I was there one other time too, and in the video the knocking is constant. All the fucking time you hear this knocking, and I didn't hear it in the video. Like when I was filming it, I didn't fucking hear it. I kept hearing some other weird sound. I don't know how to explain it. Like I just don't know how to explain it. You just have to watch the video. Like I don't know how to explain the sound I kept hearing, but it wasn't this knocking that's in the video constantly. Every couple minutes you hear like dunk 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 dunk. And I was the only one there. Like this was way before Hicks even flew out here. And I was really weird. But I don't know how to explain that knocking. So, okay. I don't know.
If you don't mind me asking, would you consider yourself quite empathic? Do you, and I know that we make the jokes about fifis, but in this one I'm actually being serious. Do you actually feel that much when you're out there? You know, sense anything unusual?
No, not really. I don't believe in empaths. I don't believe in psychics and mediums, all that hoo-ha. I know we talked about, this a little bit last time, but there is James Randi, who is offering $1 million for anyone who can prove in psychic abilities. And if all these people that have these psychic abilities, why can none of them prove that they have them when they're put to the test? And not only James Randi, there's other foundations that offer $1 million to anyone who can prove that they have psychic abilities or any kind of, mind powers, or can do any sort of non-illusion magic tricks, if I said that right. But yet nobody has ever been able to do these. So where are all the real ones at? I don't understand. A lot of people, they'll watch the videos, because I have done some videos in some very dark places, and they'll be like, "Oh, I could just feel the energy from this." And I'm thinking, well, I was at this place, and it just felt like a normal place. I mean, but I don't know. Like, it's all. I think it's all in the mind of the people.
Well, it's not just that. It's also like the temperature drops and things like that. Did you actually feel any of that while you was there?
At this place, no. There was only one place, because I do have a device that checks the temperature. And actually, you didn't even really see it in this episode because nothing happened with it. If you watch the first Haunted Berlin, we do use this piece of equipment, and it has ambient temperature detection, which means if it's turned on, it will alert me if the temperature is raising or it's lowering. And nothing happened at that place. At this other place, one time I was filming, and it's all on film. It was a super cold spot. Like, it was really weird, but the temperature was actually raising on the device, which was really weird. Like, I've never seen it felt so cold, but yet the temperature was rising in that spot. And I've never experienced anything like that before. So I don't know. That was very interesting for me.
Okay.
That kind of goes with what I was going to ask you. Have you ever experienced anything that you can't write off that is just unexplained and you're not sure about that, but the evidence presented to you?
There was that time. See, I I'm not so sure about this. Everyone runs around in the dark with K2 meters, or these other devices that look for EMF, which is electronic magnetic fields. I'm not sure if I believe in this or not, because so much stuff can set that off. Like these K2 meters that so many people buy because they're cheap. They're like $60. I'm sorry, guys. Hicks was using it before, and an airplane flew over, and the K2 just started going off. And cell phones set them off. Like the first time I had used it, I got really excited because it was going off, but then I realized my girlfriend's phone was setting it off. But at this time, when the temperature was changing, when it felt really cold, but it said it was rising, the EMF had like changed. Like I have a photo. I'm gonna send a photo. Let's see here. Hold on. Fuck, I don't know if I have it still. I just switched to memory cards here about a month ago, so I lost all my photos. I can download it. But anyway, in the photo I took, because it also this device reads the highs of the temperature, the lows of the temperature, and the highs of the EMF and the lows of the EMF. And there was a major difference. There was like a 30-degree temperature change. I don't know, that one time was like really fucking out there. But there have been other small things like, I can't say about that shadow figure because it wasn't caught on film. We had been drinking, so just take that evidence and just throw it away because it wasn't caught on film. But like when we were filming Haunted Berlin 1 and all the footsteps were happening, that was kind of strange. Because we didn't see nobody else there. We didn't hear nobody else, but like we're hearing footsteps, we're hearing branches break. We've had, here and there, but I don't know. I filmed so much, a lot more should be happening. Like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, sorry if I ramble. I'm tired.
Oh, it's all good. Tiger, anything else you want to ask before I open it up? Batman's crying in the chat now too.
Yeah, I have a quick question. If you could go to any place and research it, what place would you like to go?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, it's kind of in the works right now already, but I'm supposed to be flying out to the UK in the beginning of next year to do some filming with some people. I can't say who and I can't say what, but this place is supposed to be supposedly very haunted. We'll just say, to be nice. Just I don't know. I would love to go into the Paris catacombs and to be let alone down there. That would probably be the one place I would really want to go, is the catacombs.
Oh, but, cool. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever heard of that. It's like where they dump millions of dead people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it, but I've also heard of dumbass Americans getting lost down there and never being seen again. So
yeah, that's actually a very common thing. People go down there to party and they get lost and die because the place is miles and miles and miles deep and long, and there's no way that they can ever explore those tunnels, those catacombs, because it's so big. And a lot of people do get lost every year, and people do die. But
don't mind.
Yeah,
I know you're saying you're coming over to the UK, and I understand you don't say where you're going, etc. I'm not going to ask you that. But have you considered going to the Edinburgh catacombs? They're supposed to be pretty interesting, to say the least.
There's actually a lot of places in the UK that I would love to film. They're more the commercial locations, like Chillingham Castle. I've always wanted to go to since I was a little kid. There's the Ancient Ram's Inn. There's oh God, what is that? There's a castle type deal that's more. It was like a dealing with a cult. Oh fuck, what was it? It's like this underground type deal that this cult used to worship whatever god they believed in, and I would love to go there too. I can't think of the name. But yeah, there's a lot of places in the UK.
A couple of suggestions. You probably know of them, of course, but you got Hellfire Caves in High Wycombe.
Yeah, that's the one. Hellfire Caves. Yes, that's the one. That's the one.
Oh, yes. Sounds like fun. You do want to go there. And the other one would be Chislehurst Caves down in Kent. You might want to consider.
Yeah, I've not heard of that one.
Oh, Yeah, consider looking that one up, mate. I don't live that far from there. Take that as a personal suggestion. Just look it up and make your own decisions, you know?
What I've heard, London itself is supposed to be the most haunted city in the United Kingdom. Considering the amount of, considering the amount of like fighting that's gone on about the place, if ghosts were real, it wouldn't surprise me.
Well, all the guys that are in the UK, you guys should check out a channel called Paranormal Truth. They're from the UK, and they do real, honest investigations as well. And another guy is Gary from Curiosity. He does paranormal documentaries and serial killer documentaries, and it's all truth. So you guys might want to check those guys out.
All right, cool. Cheers.
What was the second channel called?
Curiosity.
Curiosity, and then the other one is Paranormal what?
Paranormal Truth.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all from the UK, and like I said, honest investigations. There's not many people that I will say, I trust these guys. Not many teams at all. Like, I could count on one hand out of the thousands of people that follow me.
I'm sorry, I have a quick question. Have you ever heard of this? I think it's called the Skull Experiment, or not Skull. I think it's Skull. It was in England where it's like an hour and a half or so where they supposedly do all this research, and they locked up this camera inside this lockbox, and the ghost took all these pictures inside this camera that was locked. Did you ever see that documentary?
I can't say I have. You said it was called the Skull Experiment?
Yeah. I think it was done in England.
Oh, I've never heard of that one. But no, a ghost taking pictures in a lockbox, that's not difficult to fake. Even when I was a kid.
Well, like, they locked this camera up, and supposedly this ghost would take pictures, and then there was also things where, I forget what it's called, where items just appear out of nowhere, like flower petals and things like that. I don't know the term for it.
Translocation?
Supposedly, spirits can make like smells happen.
Yeah.
But see, now I was filming at one location which we think was haunted. That's why we have so much footage. In fact, we filmed weeks at this place, and the footage just sits there because there's so much footage we don't know what the fuck to do with it. But one time we were filming there, and we would get a lot of activity around this bed, like this like military type style bed. And I was sitting there one time, and Hicks was walking around me filming, and I was like, "Do you smell that, man?" And he's like, "No, I don't smell nothing." I kept smelling cologne, and it wasn't me, it wasn't Hicks, and I kept smelling it, and I knew it wasn't crazy. I was like, "I fucking smell cologne," and apparently we went into debunking mode, and we found someone had been in there recently that we had not seen, and they had broke a cologne bottle behind the bed. So that was the experience of the cologne, which yeah.
I just linked it, the Skull Experiment.
You know, a lot of these people who, when they have a supernatural encounter, they first of all they smell something, usually something that they're very fond of, like a food or something, or a perfume. That's actually linked to a psychological disorder. Yeah, a physiological disorder that's usually caused by head injuries. And most of the people who've had these encounters, they've had head injuries before.
Interesting. Never heard this before. Interesting.
No, funny enough, I have heard of it, and it's sort of ringing bells, but unfortunately, it's not coming up.
It was actually used. I mean, it's a factual thing, but it was actually used in a David Niven movie back during the war, one of the only ones, A Matter of Life and Death, it was called. Where he thought he was being, he jumped bailed out of his aircraft. He didn't have a parachute, and he actually survived the fall. Head injuries, but he was simply all right. But he was having these moments where time seemed to freeze around him, and he was taken to heaven to be judged because he was supposed to have died. But every time it started, he could smell fried onions.
You know, that I actually think I remember that film.
It was a very good film because it left you in two minds whether he was actually hallucinating it or it was actually real. But that was, because it was a fantasy, I like to think it was real. But the realist of me says, it was a fantasy, but the condition he was suffering from is very real.
It's very interesting. I mean,
oh, and one other place, if you are coming over to England, if you're going anywhere near Cornwall, check out the Jamaica Inn. That's got quite a reputation for being haunted too.
Oh, Cornwall itself's haunted.
Yes, true. But Jamaica Inn is world famous for its ghosts. So if you get the option, maybe pop in there and have a look, see what you think. Just throwing out a few ideas for you, mate.
And if you just out of interest, I would, and you're in Cornwall, I would soak up the local folklore.
Oh God, yes.
They can tell some scary stories down there.
I've like I said, I've wanted to go to the UK and film for a long, long time, but my schedule is pretty much already filled. Like, I'm leaving the same day that the filming ends. Like, I go there for a week and leaving right afterwards. Like, yeah, there's so many places I want to see. I want to go see some history, some culture, but I don't even get time for that. It's film, and then back to Germany. So, kind of sucks for me. Because, like I said, there's a lot of sites I want to go see.
And for obvious reasons, the Tower of London. But let's be honest, if I need to tell you that, then there's something wrong, quite simply.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've thought of another reason. We were on about the reasons why people believe in ghosts. There's another reason. People enjoy it, especially around this time of year.
Yeah,
that is true. Yeah,
I think I agree. I have to agree with you on that one, Batman. I think that all people enjoy the thought of there could be something more. Like, even as a skeptic, I would love fucking magic to be real. I would love ghosts to be real. I'd love to find some kind of evidence. But
magic and ghosts. No, because that would bring in, you'd have other things like vampires and bloody revenants and shit.
That would be terrifying, dude.
The world's scary enough.
And lichens.
Or even werewolves.
So many people want to believe in ghosts is because they're afraid of once they die that this is the end.
Yeah,
they want to hold on to something. That's why so many people believe in God because they don't want to feel like they're alone. And
I've got the opposite way of looking at it. My idea is if you die and there's an afterlife where you'd be judged for all the misdeeds in the present life, that's terrifying. Whereas if you die and that's it, there's end of story. That's not terrifying at all.
And what the hell are you talking about? Magic does exist. Why do you think when I start counting, my kids start running when I tell them to do something?
That's
I
fear.
don't even have to get to 3.
That's fear.
I believe it's called magic.
No, it's fear.
The fear of getting the asses beat.
Yep.
It's magic.
Okay, since I woke up, I might as well drink, right? I mean,
go for it. 10 o'clock.
Maybe this time I won't get drunk so fast.
Oh, getting drunk is wonderful. You should have watched MADDS stream yesterday. I was a blast.
No, you were blasted. There's a difference.
That's one word for it.
Moondog, the wrench apocalypse happened. You're gonna have to get over it, buddy. Sorry.
The wrench apocalypse happened because somebody needed to be able to do their job, and I demanded that it happened, even though Dodge is way too goddamn nice to not take wrenches away.
I agree.
I think I'm good with my wrench because, I don't mess about with it.
Yeah. You shouldn't abuse your power if you're given it.
Agrees.
Anyway, all right. So a lot of these ghost hunting teams have messed up. We talked a little bit about it last time you were here, DDF.
And by that you mean they're phonies?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the most disappointing out of all of them would be TAPS, in my opinion, because they're the ones that actually got me into ghost hunting back in the day. And then I found out later that they were scripting shit and rigging stuff up and faking a bunch of footage. Doesn't that give all ghost hunters a bad name?
Well, in the sense that, you know, it makes everything a joke. And it makes you like, see, I've learned that every paranormal television show is fake. It's bullshit. I mean, I grew up obsessed with these shows. Like, you know, as you said, TAPS, that was a good one. I used to love Ghost Adventures. But the one that really got me going was Scariest Places on Earth. And that shit was fake too.
Right.
So,
I think there's two types of ghost hunters. They're the ones that are in it for the money, and it's just a big fucking game to them. And there's the other people that are out there actually trying to debunk it or find some actual proof.
I would say there's actually three different kinds.
What's
people that genuinely believe that there's stuff out there.
All utter bollocks.
Or people who are looking for something.
I used to enjoy, well, I still do, things like, I think it was Haunted Britain, where the pick a story, right? And the related story. Sometimes they'll have dramatizations on it. I mean, I enjoy it. I don't believe it. I still enjoy it, though.
Well, mysticism, good. A little bit of, you know, a little bit of, you know, imagination and things like that. It's all fun, you know, like Mary Shelley, and you know, it's nice to read a bit of Frankenstein and Bram Stoker and things like that. But I mean, it's when people actually start taking this shit seriously. I mean, that's, you know, that way lies fucking religious, you know, zealotry and all the shit we're trying to put behind us.
You're right.
There are people who will not leave their house in between the hours of sunset and sunrise.
There you go. You see, it just shows you how damaging this shit can be.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people like that in Chicago, Batman.
Well, that's
yeah, but that's because of gun crime.
Yeah, I know.
Well, the same shit happens in Detroit. You're not going to leave your house at night because people are.
But again, I mean, isn't it a metaphor for the vampire? But that's a metaphor for the vampire, because a vampire was, you know, I mean, going back to the days of, you know, Vlad the Impaler, but it was a noble, right, who lived in his castle. He'd come down and he sacked the, you know, the work, you know, the work out of the peasants. So it was kind of like a metaphor for, you know, sucking the life force out of people.
Yeah, and
taking their labor.
In pre-industrial age, before electricity, people would go to bed at sunset, and then they'd wake up at like midnight, stay awake for a couple hours sewing or whatever, then they'd go back to bed, and they'd wake up at fucking dawn and go about their day.
Yeah, candles weren't cheap, you know.
Yeah, you pretty much. Sorry, Shirley, what'd you say?
I was just saying, I do believe we have the 4 most boisterous people in the chat, and there's a visitor here today. And I think he was talking before we started talking.
Yeah. And Cabbage is 2 of the 4 most boisterous people in the chat.
Yep. Fuck you.
In your dreams.
Batman, isn't the person you just mentioned in the chat the person from Most Haunted?
Oh, Derek Accordion, yeah.
Yeah, he blocked me on Twitter, that asshole.
Oh, God.
He reminds me of the ghost version equivalent of that guy from Ancient Aliens. Ancient Aliens.
Yes, I've got a message. Right, it's does anybody in the audience know Derek, John, Robert, Karen?
I'm hearing something. I'm hearing nonce.
Is there anybody in the audience who has a dead relative with the letter that's something with A through Z, maybe?
All my relatives were had numbers.
Batman, don't you remember that? It was the Phoenix Nights episode where he has the paranormal guy on. And he just goes around insulting the audience, like telling people that they're having an affair. Yeah, the wife's having an affair and things like that. I'm hearing something. I'm getting a note. It's called Dave.
I've heard of stage acts like that where they're obviously just doing it for comedy effect, but they've actually caused relationships to break up because one of the people actually believes that it's a real psychic.
That's what I mean. That's why you got to see that Phoenix Nights one, mate. I'll hunt it out for you. I'll get you. I'll send it to you as well if you like. DDF. I think you'll find it funny.
I do think that certain places can have an atmosphere, but that's based on what.
Look, I mean, the thing is, right? You look at London. But look at London, right? The whole of London. You got, the Great Fire of London. We've had the Blitz. There should be fucking people wandering around all over the place. It shouldn't exactly be difficult to find them. They should be out the woodwork.
According to Being Human, there are. We just can't see them.
Well, that's what I mean. You see, it's and yet somehow, but they just permeate in certain little instances in very small specific periods of time in one particular location. It's like, well, no, fucking Auschwitz should have, it should be like Night of the Living Dead. It isn't. Why not?
Batman,
at night that place should be fucking glowing.
Me off.
It should be glowing, you know what I mean? The whole of Auschwitz should be glowing with ghosts.
All of Europe, all of the world should be fucking overrun with ghosts. Look at all the atrocities that have happened in the Americas, South America, Europe.
The 100 Years' War, the fucking 40 Years' War.
We have a guest, and we're drowning him out.
Oh, yeah, but there is a lot of places where there is supposedly a bunch of activity. The whole battlefield for Gettysburg is one. The Stanley Hotel. There's this asylum that's also in the United States that supposedly has a lot of activity.
Talk about the trans allegation asylum.
Hey, DDF.
Yeah. How many people drunk and stoned when they have these experiences?
Have there ever been any ghost hunters trying their trade out in Flanders Fields?
I'm sure there is.
That's a good one.
Because I've never heard any ghost stories about that place.
I mean, honestly, I don't even know that location offhand. There's thousands of supposedly haunted locations.
Well, Flanders, World War One. The Somme, and where death and absolute,
there was just total carnage.
Yeah. Anaheim.
I mean, I'm sure if you just go on YouTube, I'm sure you can find every location that you can ever imagine or you think is haunted. You can find videos on them. There's thousands of paranormal groups out there.
But theoretically, like on every plot of land pretty much that exists, it's being occupied by humans now. At some point, somebody's probably died pretty close to it. You know what I mean? Over time.
Yeah.
Throughout history. Somebody, chances are, is going to have died within a few, and especially when you're going back, like, pre-industrial age. I mean, people were not dying, from consumption or anything. They were dying from the pox and from, starvation and penury and things like that.
Black Death.
Yeah, so, there should be an awful lot of tortured souls which are wanting to, let the world know.
Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah. There you go. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Well, real quick.
Watch Python.
Well, real quick. I'm reading the chat here. Take it easy, Moondog. Enjoy China. Anti-Jack says, ghosts are just beings that exist in dimensions slightly off sync from ours. I've heard theories about that. Where it's a citation required, Anti-Jack. You heard the Batman.
Interesting hypothesis, but until you can actually provide any evidence, that's all it is.
Yeah.
That's what people say.
Don't forget, a multi-dimensional theory is only a theory. Nobody's proved it.
No, it isn't. Multi-dimensional theory is only a hypothesis.
Let's talk about evidence.
It's not a theory until it's
there's
proven.
lots of
calling him Anti-Jack when his name clearly says Ain't Jack. And another thing, why do you keep calling me Sharardi when my name is Sharati?
I can call you whatever the fuck I want. Anyway.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'll just call you cunt. How about that? That's easy.
There we go.
That works.
Yeah. But no, let's talk about evidence a little bit. Photos. How easy are those to fake, DDF? Especially old photos. Especially old photos, though. Not this post Photoshop era. I'm talking about old ass photos that people use.
Oh, you mean
evidence.
like when like double exposures come into play? Is that like what you're talking about? Where it shows an image behind somebody and it wasn't there when they took the photo, but that same photo is in that roll of footage.
Yeah, but you can also use glass projection, can't you? So you project onto a piece of glass while you're filming through it, so an angle. So there's plenty of other ways that you can do it. So you
like an Atlas Obscura kind of thing.
Yeah, but you don't have to use double exposure.
Okay.
We just lost DDF.
Yeah, he dropped off once before. I'm sure he'll be back.
There's another thing. It's back when photography became all the rage, and they were having. It was a trick played in public schools when they were taking the school photographs with the early cameras. Because kids worked out that if they were quick enough, they could run from one end of the line to the other end and appear on the photograph twice.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
because
exactly.
Because
of the exposure time.
Yeah, it was so slow. It took like a minute or some shit for it to like.
It was the shutter speed. It was the
and like early photography, it was the exposure time was so slow that they had to like put neck braces on people and like they had to like hold on to stuff, so there was no movement at all, or else like it would be blurry and they'd blink and it was really hard to take a good photo back then. I'm talking like way back, like 10 types and the daguerreotypes and stuff like that. Or however you put it.
Yeah, pinhole cameras.
But yeah, photos have always been able to be faked. Oscar, he has a video where he shows how to fake Polaroids because supposedly Polaroids cannot be faked. And Oscar does it right there on camera and creates some ghost images. So, I mean...
But you see, that's what I was saying. If you take it, which is what they found even with the old black and white, going back way back to Victorian times. So if you could use a projector, you could project an image onto, through glass. So that when you take a picture of the glass, you actually get the... Exactly. So, it's perfectly... In fact, don't they even use that to this day in the haunted house, the haunted castle in...
Yeah, it's a bit more advanced now. They use a hologram onto a piece of glass.
Okay. But that's what they did when I went there as a kid. It was basically just the glass projection. Though it's the same technology as they used back in the 40s or something. It's it's really basic stuff.
Okay, this photo. This is the Amityville. This is the Amityville photo.
Does this say?
Oh God, Amityville.
I can remember when that first came out back in the late 70s. That was a creepy photo. No, it's a kid with probably some contact lenses in, so that when the flash goes off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look how many people get red eye, for fuck's sake. Every bloody mobile phone picture you get has got bloody red eye on it.
But that's the best way to make a creepy photograph. Have a kid and just have him like way in the background.
There, better.
That kid looks just like the one that got killed, though, doesn't he?
No. Different. You don't think so? It's a different nose. Their face is thinner. I think the lip, the mouth is smaller.
The forehead's a little higher. It looks like too.
Hair is longer.
It looks a bit taller, actually.
It's a similar kid, but it's not the same kid.
So the Warrens faked this photo, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. When they had to keep the story going. Don't forget, they were milking it for all it was worth. The family that made this, that started the original claims, and they moved in. Yeah, they went fucking nuts with this thing. They were writing the books and they were getting all the promotions. And they split up, didn't they?
They got exposed in the 80s, I believe.
Yeah, it was a clusterfuck at the end of it. Yeah, I mean,
we're on about that.
They really got.
It was on the last stream.
What?
The Amityville horror. We were on about that.
The Warrens, like I said earlier, they've been exposed so many times. There is some truth to the Amityville.
The murders.
The murders from the kid were true. But now that we know more about the mind and how it works and mental disorders, he has many mental problems and many mental disorders. And at one time he said it was demons, and then other times he said it wasn't demons. So just because somebody kills doesn't mean that it's ghosts. People kill all the time.
There was also evidence that it wasn't just him. That the son. It was that there was an accomplice, because you can't go firing. I mean, there was no silencer. Well, even a silencer is not a silencer. It's just a suppressor, right? So there's still pretty fucking noise. How you go round and you kill 2 people in one room and get to 2 other rooms then to kill your brother and your sister without them even hearing a bloody rifle going off in an enclosed in a closed house. That's the only thing that can be said. No, the chances are there would have been an accomplice, because they were all in bed, right? Every single one.
They were all in bed. Yeah, but there was a very,
they can't have heard
very
the original
storm.
bang, right? So it had to be done. Well, I mean, come on, heavy storm is one thing, but I mean, a gun going off, bloody rifle.
The first couple of times you're going to think somebody's got the TV on, because you're asleep and it drives you in as a TV.
But how you mentioned the accomplice, it is actually said that the sister helped him do it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of theories.
They said the sister actually did all the killing, and then he killed her in the end as well, because they were having an incest affair type deal. And that's why they use it in all the movies.
Yeah, I was going to say they use that in the movies, the worst ones as well.
Yeah, so
it's it was a weird story, but again, I mean, it doesn't really prove any ghosts. But it's it's an interesting saga, about what went on. But then the stuff that came afterwards with the Lutz family and all the rest, I mean, that was just fucking
garbage.
Yeah, I think they just capitalized on the tragedy that happened in that house. Is all
absolutely.
And Ronnie DeFeo was just using that as a defense. There was the only demons involved were the fucking ones metaphorically in his own head.
Yeah. Well, they say he was having a mental breakdown at one point, I believe.
So you're telling me they bought the house with the intent to leave after only 28 days and then try and write a book about it? Like they fucking planned this all out?
Yeah, absolutely.
They didn't try. They did.
Yeah,
they made $1 million off that book.
Yeah,
they made $1 million.
There were more people involved than just
some of the things before.
Yeah.
And you got to remember the fact that house, nobody would buy it, right? They couldn't get shifted. They got it for next to nothing.
So I don't accept.
And they got $1 million for the book deal. $1 million for one book. So,
yeah, but they didn't end up making any money off the movies, I don't believe.
So they got $1 million. They got $1 million for the book.
You got to remember that was $1 million back in the 70s. That was the 70s when $1 million actually meant something. A lot of money in the 70s.
I think they made money off the first film.
Well, they'd have made money off the script. Well, no, they'd have made money off the script that would have been based on the story. So they'd have had to buy rights to the story. So they'd have still made money out of the film either way. Just to pass the rights over for it.
Yeah. And it wouldn't have been the second film, because the first film was the shooting. The second one was when they abandoned the house, right?
No, I think it was the other way. No, the first film was a story the Lutz put out in the book.
Speaking of, they came out like their 15th movie.
They got the pig looking through the window. It's the pig looking through the window.
I saw that film, and it just reminded me of so many other horror films I'd seen.
Well, I read the book.
They just came out with another Amityville horror movie.
No, geez.
Did you guys know they came out with another Amityville horror movie? This is like number 16 or 17. Give me a second, I'll tell you how many movies they made.
Oh, they did a remake of it as well.
So Friday
that was years ago, though. They've come out with like 10 movies since then.
Friday the 13th, the one that won't die.
Saturday the 14th.
Yeah. Jesus. Sunday the 30th.
Hey, Cabbage, before you jumped in, just saying, imagine how much scarier the world would be if things like ghosts, werewolves, vampires, and that were actually real.
That'd be amazing.
Well, they do.
They made 14 movies.
In a metaphorical sense, we got Muslims. We got
14 of those movies.
They made 14 Amityville horror movies. They just came out with another one. Oh no, wait, there's 15 because there's one I haven't added yet. Because I just downloaded it the other day. So there's 15 Amityville horror movies.
Well,
that's all
I remember the original.
there's one for you. If there were such things as vampires, right? The vampire legends were all true. There wouldn't be any Muslims in Eastern Europe because Vlad Tepes, who Dracula is based off, he enjoyed killing Muslims.
He enjoyed killing everyone.
Yeah, but probably just that was just a hobby. You know, his commitment
that was his job.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, that went way beyond hobby. he had
that's what he did for a living.
Okay. So he specialized. Is what you're saying?
Right. That's the time. Well, actually, I think it was were they were facing constant invasion by Muslims. So,
well, actually, also you couldn't be vampires couldn't be Muslims because they wouldn't be able to drink the blood of anyone in Europe because we all drink, right? And they don't like alcohol. It's going to be a dry nation. So so werewolves. You see, it's the werewolves of the Muslims. There we go.
Muslims do have their own vampires. I think every major.
But I bet they stick to their own. They won't,
Well, not really, because they're always supposed to be cursed, aren't they? Therefore, shunned by the creator, basically.
I don't know, and I don't care. I'm just talking bollocks right now.
Well, I enjoy it because it's it's mythology. Mythology is interesting.
Yeah, and you can make it up as you go along.
So we talked a little bit about photographic evidence. You guys don't put much stock in that. We had touched upon it last time we were here.
Stock footage.
But, yeah. Oh, shut up, Cabbage. No,
I've got another question. EV, you can fake those as well.
What tits? Lots of fake tits.
Electronic voice phenomena.
Okay, what about them?
I think Mad's asking if you'd accept that as any kind of proof.
That is that's okay. That's actually an interesting question. I was watching a paranormal TV show for the first time the other day, and it was so goddamn bad. And this actually has to deal with the EVP. You can clearly hear his stomach growl. And he goes, "Oh my God, did you hear that growl?" And that is a very bad problem with paranormal teams and getting EVPs, because they'll be standing around and their stomach will growl. They won't call it out. Someone's camera will pick it up. No one calls it out. So, hey, boom, EVP. Someone will be moving their foot, and in a dark, quiet room where no sound, someone moving their foot, you hear, boom, there's some sort of, sound.
I've heard.
Someone farts and doesn't, say, "Oh, it was me," because they're embarrassed. There's your EVP.
Yeah, but even if it's dark, right?
The other thing is, I found. Hold on a bit, Coach, please. I've heard a few of these EVP things on YouTube, and to me, most of it, it's just like the similar effect you get when you mishear the lyrics on a record.
Yeah,
you hear something because you want to hear something. Or
that's also another problem.
And your brain fills
like audio pareidolia or something.
Pareidolia, yeah. That's actually that's when you get an EVP and you listen to it and you go, "Oh my God, it says devil's raping you in the ass," and the next person, "Oh my God, I hear it too." That's because they're already looking for it to say that, so that's what they hear.
Okay, it's like,
that's why you should all write down on a piece of paper.
It's like playing an LP backwards, and people say it's telling you to go and, fuck the devil or something.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I'm forgetting which one. Hey, Cabbage. I forget which one it is, but there's one of the 5 maiden singles where there is an actual backwards message on it.
Yeah, but they only did that. But that only came in. But that only came in after that. After that rumor had been created, so they added it to the fucking shits of it.
Some band did do that on purpose. I can't remember if it was like Judas Priest or Iron Maiden.
Do you know what the message actually says? Do you know what the message actually says? Because maybe we tried it. We heard it. Yeah. "Don't play this record backwards, son. It'll bust your turntable."
Yeah, there you go. You see, smart. You see, a good message. The message from the grave.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's the thing, right? Because that was like one of those memes, and it went out there, and everyone thought that if you're playing these things backwards, the same sort of thing. Like you said, it's just it's trying to fit something into the narrative that you want to build. So you're fulfilling a predisposition. It's not. It's not.
I can remember when all that came out, and scientists actually researched on if backwards played messages could affect people, and no, they couldn't, because your brain cannot understand them.
Yeah, well, what a surprise. And I bet they spent about £1 million working that fucking thing out as well.
Here's a riddle. What do you think of ghosts and weather?
Nothing whatsoever. Never even pondered it.
Ghosts and
there
weather.
are people who believe that stuff, though. They believe, depending on where the moon is in the sky, how big, how far, all that crap. Some people do believe it does affect it. Me personally, every time I've went out and filmed, it's always been the same.
Well, we just had a topic yesterday about Halloween and the thinning of the proverbial veil and ghosts being able to come to the other side.
Yes,
that's
which
what
is
I was talking about.
Yes.
People always make these claims, but I would like to see some sort of some evidence of why they believe this.
Well, it's all to do with the all these bloody astronomy things, isn't it? When the planets are in a certain alignment, then astrology.
Astronomy is a science. Astrology is a superstition.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Is astrology, right? That these crazies think that when you get the planets in certain alignments and the energies and all that kind of thing. The odd thing is that there's actually some relative truth in that, where in terms of like energy dispersal around the between the planets during alignments, but it just becomes this whole weird mysticism. Again, it's just about mysticism. It's got nothing to do with science. It's just pure. We don't understand it, so we'll just put ghosts and things into it.
What? Yeah, you know how since the constellations were set down, I'm forgetting what it's called. The process is called, but they actually occur in later in the year than they did when they were set down. So the astrological zodiac is out of kilter. And Eamon Holmes on Breakfast TV brought it up once, right? And as Russell Grant now, so doesn't this mean that all his stuff's out of whack? And he goes, "Oh, well, you're talking about the astronomical zodiac, and I use the astrological zodiac, which works on a completely different principle." You just see Eamon Holmes there sitting down, and he could read his lips saying, "Stupid."
It's just look, you can't argue stupid. I mean, there is an interesting one though, I must admit, which is like if you go back with the the Sphinx, and you go back that 10,000 years to when the Nile was getting flooded and everything, and it does actually line up with Leo. I mean, apparently it does. I don't know. I've never tested it. I'm just going to take their word for it.
Well, apparently it does line up for when the stars were in those positions, but so that's not too difficult to do if you're determined enough. And let's face it, people back then, they were a lot more ingenious than we are, because they had to be.
I don't know about that. I don't remember hearing. I don't remember any fucking.
They also had a lot less distractions too. I mean, they didn't have like television to watch.
But I did ask DDF a question, and I would like to know his answer.
Sorry, we will shut up.
Well, honestly, if a spirit is supposedly a spirit is energy. That's why people use the EMF detectors. So I mean, technically, if there was like say a massive lightning storm that would supposedly could affect it, would change it, but these are all just theories, and there's no evidence to back up any of it. Like I said, there's no actual physical evidence of there even being something paranormal. So I mean, it's all just people's theories, which means it's not proven. It's what people want something to be.
You see, the thing the reason I can't get into all of it is just like you say, it should be so fucking prevalent. I should have to walk out of the shops and have to be sort of barging my way through a billion previously dead people. It just doesn't happen. You just don't see them anywhere.
Wait.
Previously dead?
I don't know. Maybe they're all NPCs. Maybe they were not playing characters. There's actually only about 10 cells to go around.
Cabbage. Ball lightning is a thing. It's yeah, the conditions.
I know.
Very easy to occur, but hardly anybody ever sees it.
Yeah, but you can recreate that in a laboratory, right? You can actually do it in a laboratory. That's easy. That's not a problem.
I'm devil's advocate. What if?
Yeah, and you're failing dismally if you're trying to use an analogy to.
I'm not.
That's a shitty comparison.
I don't think it is.
Yeah, well,
because it's something that it's something that's known about. But yeah, according to you should be able to see every time there's a thunderstorm, but you don't.
No, there's no reason to assume that it would happen over every thunderstorm. It happens in very specific circumstances, which can be recreated in a laboratory.
For fuck's sake, boys, would you let the visitor talk?
I'm sorry, but I'm just not being bullshitted to.
No, you're not being bullshitted to, and he said there's no evidence whatsoever.
No,
he is agreeing with you.
I'm talking about Batman. I'm not criticizing the guest. I'm talking Batman.
Yes. You're still cutting him off.
Yep.
So are you.
So quit.
You shut up as well.
Quit being a cunt.
Oh, please. That's your job.
Anyway,
like I said, there's just no proof or evidence. It's all just people's hopes and wishes and what they want it to be. I was told a couple months ago that ghosts only come out between a certain time as well. I was like, okay, well, why do you have this? Why do you think this? What? You're like, well, the witching hour starts at 6 o'clock. I'm like, what?
I thought it was at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
No, it's supposed to be 2 a.m.
And by the way, why have they all got a budget for Victorian dresses?
And they have clocks in the spirit world? Do they know what time it is?
Hey, wait a minute. Now, like Amityville 5 or 6 was about a haunted clock from the house. So,
yeah.
Oh, God.
There is a possibility that, to be a ghost, you've got to join the union.
Yeah, they got like a whistle that goes off like, hey, gotta go to work, guys. I'll see you later.
Yep.
Time to go scare people.
The next Amityville is going to be like the haunted drawer. You know, like they run out of other items in the house. Just read the cupboard.
Cabbage, they've already done a mirror. They've done a clock. They've done a dollhouse. They've done... it's been a while since I watched them. I just remember those three, but yeah, there could be other items from the destroyed Amityville house that was
Amityville, the shoehorn.
Here's one for you. I mean, in my younger days, when I was in my teens, I used to know about a lot of occultists. So you know what I quickly found out? Most occultists don't actually believe in the occult. They're just interested in this thing. Yeah, they start out believing in it, they get deep into it, and then finding out more and more.
Familiar.
They basically lose their belief in it.
It seems logical though for that to be the progression.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like evidence, no evidence. Eventually, you start thinking, "Hey, maybe this is bullshit."
That's how it started with me and the paranormal.
But you see, DDF. That's what I don't understand. Is you see, the one thing you're trying to do is the impossible, which is to prove a negative. You're trying to prove that something doesn't exist. Well, that's never going to happen, is it? You can't prove that something doesn't exist if it doesn't exist. So you really saddle yourself with a sort of...
Dodge, start moderating or I will permanently.
Oh, Queen, shut up. I just asked a reasonable fucking question. Right? I mean, DDF, you don't think that was unreasonable, do you? I mean, because you know what I mean? You're trying to prove a false... You're like a false positive. You can't do that, right? You can't prove that something is wrong. If it is wrong, it is wrong. So therefore, you can't prove that it's wrong. It is wrong inherently.
Well, see, there's from the scientific side, there's no evidence. From the other side, there's piles and piles of evidence, but most of it is complete crap. But I mean, how to say this? I don't know. I'm just looking. I mean, I would love to come across a demon. If I did, that would mean some sort of a religion is true, which, yeah.
It would also probably mean that you'd never get out alive.
Hey, if that's the cost, then... If I could like
so
prove
you're
there was
looking
a
for
demon, like say I could prove that there's a demon, then I could prove that some sort of religion is true dealing with demons. But I'm just looking for if I can find anything. Like as I started, like you guys just mentioned, this is actually perfectly. When I started doing this, I was obsessed with the paranormal. I've always been obsessed with the paranormal ever since I was a little kid. Then I started doing it, and I become way more skeptical. Way more skeptical. So
I remember reading a short story about a guy. It was a science fantasy short story about the guy for his thesis. He's trying to prove, the reality of demons, and he manages to conjure one. The thing is, they're not actually supernatural. There's some kind of energy being, and the feed off the energy released with human emotions.
Sounds like a Star Trek episode.
No, like you said, it was a short story. I think it might have even been a Stephen King one. But the thing about the story is the Dean was trying to convince him of all sorts of religions were true, particularly the ones that his religion was diametrically opposed to feed on his emotions. But you never know.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm sorry, but there should be an awful lot more kind of like pretty much in-your-face evidence. It shouldn't be that deep. And all the stuff, whenever it happened, it always seemed to come out. It's the same thing with the UFO stuff, right? It all came out at around about the same time as all of the test developments of things like stealth fighters. They started seeing triangles in the sky. Well, big surprise. Then it suddenly turns out that stealth fighter is actually a triangle. They've been testing it for years and years beforehand.
I think the first recorded UFOs were before the First World War.
Yep.
Well, they had the Foo Fighters, but they were more like sort of lights. They were more like your ball lightning, actually.
No, because
the First World War. Yeah, there was the First World War.
Foo Fighters were mostly encountered during clear daytime.
Well, I mean, it could have been, encountered at any time, but I mean, most of they could have been environment. I mean, I don't know, because like I said, it sounded like ball lightning.
You might not be far wrong.
But anyway,
with the Foo Fighters, you might not be far wrong with secret aircraft, because
exactly.
A lot of stuff hasn't been released.
But what I'm saying is, like the people, it's like these things always seem to happen around the times when like for example the Roswell incident, then all of a sudden everyone starts finding these things, then books come out, and if you look at say some of the early science fiction like H.G. Wells and things like that, or again Frankenstein and Dracula, right? I mean, look how long and most of the the mythos of anything to do with horror is always related back to its core to the Victorian period, right? And so many of these stories that you hear that have been recorded about people that have been seen, it always seems to be somebody in Victorian dress or somebody who looks like a little urchin, or you know what I mean? They always fall into these.
You mean like Anne Boleyn?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily true when it comes to the paranormal, because people have been seeing ghosts for millennia.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the ghosts, that's what I'm saying, is that the ghosts they tend to see always seem to be these basic caricatures of a particular period in time, right? Like, when you see...
Yes,
why is it that... why is it... Well, look, I've never heard of anyone in Britain talking about anyone wandering around in a toga, which would have happened during the Roman times, right? Or a legionnaire, right? Which would have happened
back in the 60s when they were expanding the London Underground. Apparently, it's a documented case. I think, I'm not sure, but I remember reading it somewhere. They start to refuse to go down a certain tunnel. And they ended up having to
fucking Welshmen, damn it! Probably. Just shove them down; they'll do it anyway.
The basic thing is what they were describing was we're seeing, Roman soldiers. Personally, I don't believe
that's what they claim to be seeing. Yeah. Well, like I said, it's an extremely rare thing, though, isn't it? Because most of the stuff, whenever you hear about things, it is always somebody who looks like they're from basically 1700s or after. That's where, it's always somebody in flouncy dresses and all this kind of nonsense.
Maybe it's ghosts have a shelf life.
Maybe, yeah. Well, apparently, where the modern ones then? Because they're the family fresh ones. How come we still got these old things?
Hold on.
If you watch Most Haunted, you can see new ones. If you watch Most Haunted, you can see new ones.
Yeah.
Really?
A hell of a lot of
and it has the same coat as the Derek guy. It has the same exact jacket as him.
Oh, did DDF?
Derek.
Did you ever see?
Who's Derek?
Derek Cora.
Did you ever see a BBC production called Ghost Watch? It was an entire fictional documentary about a haunted house. It was basically just like the Ealing hauntings. Cabbage knows what I'm on about. I'm hearing muttering about it.
Yeah,
but
awful.
A hell of a lot of the British viewers who were watching it fell into the trap of believing it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's every paranormal show, though.
Yeah. But it was done like a documentary, and it didn't even bill it in the BBC as a fiction.
It was sort of like like War of the Worlds. When H.G. Wells did it and tried to freak people out. People tuned in; they didn't realize that it was actually just a dramatization.
I had panicking for hours with that show.
That's so stupid. I swear to God, I give up with humanity. It doesn't deserve to carry on. Let the cockroaches have a chance.
We have mentioned the Warrens quite a few times already, but what do you guys think about their little museum that they set up? That was just a cash grab, right?
Mm-hmm.
More than likely.
Which little museum? What museum?
They have a paranormal museum, and that's where the that fucking doll is at, or whatever, Edward, or whatever.
You just go in, it's an empty room, and you say, "What? No. Now you see the ghosts? Look, they're here. No. Everyone's here."
No.
Paranormal.
There's a museum that has a doll encased in a glass case, and then there's a rope like 5 feet around, it's 5 feet away from it, surrounding it, and a sign up that says you cannot be any closer to this doll because apparently the doll is possessed. They will not allow people any closer to the doll.
Yeah. Wow, that's great. Yeah. Well, P.D. Barnum did that kind of shit too.
Hey, DDT. Is it a hypothetical question for you? That doll, I forget the name of it. What the one?
I'm trying. I know the exact doll you're talking about. The one, if you take a picture of it, supposedly you'll be cursed by it. And Harold the doll, I think that's his name. Harold the doll.
Yeah,
and he gets dozens of letters every year from people taking pictures, and people have bad luck afterwards. And that's the doll you guys. I'm pretty sure it's Harold the doll.
Well, you don't believe it's there's anything supernatural about it, do you?
It's all mind over matter, I think.
Pretty sure.
I would love to film with that doll though, because if it is true, then I have a chance of catching it. But do I believe it? No.
I
want to give it a big tugging kiss. That's what I want to do. Give it a big kiss.
Constantly get into their museum, get the doll without being found out, and leave it somewhere about their house. Every time they put it back, just put it somewhere else.
There is something interesting about Harold the doll. He's very old, obviously, but his feet were very worn down, as if he had been walking around, because supposedly that was the story, is the doll would walk around places, and his feet were very worn down, as if he really does walk around. So that's also part of the story. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys knew or not, but yeah.
And if you touch him... Oh, well, no, and there's also this chair, right, where this guy, who was his favorite chair to sit in at the pub, and he ended up dying, and before he died, he cursed the fucking chair and said, nobody else will sit in this chair or they'll fucking die too. And then
prick, wasn't he?
people kept sitting in the fucking chair and they would die a couple days later. Now I think the chair is at that same museum with the doll, but it's suspended from the ceiling on chains or some shit, so nobody can fucking sit in it.
It's not
I've never heard
suspended
of that
by
one.
chains. It's actually nailed to the ceiling.
It's no surprise that you end up with shitty TV series like fucking Warehouse 13 and things, you know, when people are willing to buy this sort of garbage.
I think most people watch things like Warehouse 13 don't actually believe in it.
Well, yeah, but that's the whole point, right? Because why are people believing this nonsense? You know, like all the other nonsense that goes around. I mean, just on the basic, just, you know, it's just basic common sense. It's like, it's got to be bollocks. We should be surrounded. We're not. Why?
Who says we're not? That's the point, Cabby.
Yeah.
Just can't see it doesn't mean it's not real. I'm not trying to say it is. I'm just pointing out.
Yeah, well, again, you see, that's my point with, you know, what DDF is doing. How do you prove, you know, a falsehood? You can't. It's impossible to prove a falsehood.
Well, see, that's why I have so many cameras.
It's like, but more cameras doesn't help you prove that nothing happened. It just proves nothing happened. You can prove nothing happened with one camera.
Joey's trying to disprove, not prove.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You can't disprove a falsehood because you can't. In the same way as you can't prove a falsehood, right? Because it's a falsehood.
Well, see, well, hold on. I want to believe, but I am looking for something. But then again, I actually debunk. Unlike all these other fucking paranormal teams, I mean, I am looking for something, but I'm not sure if I believe it anymore because I filmed so much and at such dark locations with the most hideous history you can think of, and I film so little that actually could possibly might be something.
That's what I mean, right?
Like you guys mentioned,
you would think would be the haunted house, right? I mean, you think you'd be walking into Auschwitz and batting fucking ghosts out of your way, you know?
Well, actually, Cabbage Patch, I actually have filmed at concentration camps. I filmed at Luna Laga. I filmed at Neuagama. I filmed at Sachsenhausen. I think those are the only ones I've done so far. But I'm actually saving up. I'm saving up to go to Auschwitz. Actually, I have a big bag of change that I'm going to take. Me and my girlfriend, we're going to go to Auschwitz so I can film. So,
yeah, it'll be interesting to see that. But again, you know, I mean, this is weird, isn't it? That, you know, I mean, these things are meant to be really there. I mean, they should be fairly prominent in these in these high concentration areas, you know, especially like with, I mean, British castles or, you know, I mean, any European castles or battlegrounds or any of these sort of places, they should be massively high concentrations of these negative energies or whatever the fuck it is that people are talking about, you know.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, you know, but as I said, I've always grown up being obsessed with the paranormal. And then when I go to a place where, you know, 500,000 people were killed or more, and I get nothing, it's like, what the fuck? Doesn't every TV show say that if one person dies, the place is going to be haunted? Like,
in that case, just go to a bloody morgue. You know, any hospital. Hospitals should be packed with them.
they always say that those places are haunted. Like,
yeah, but
they always say morgues and. Oh no, people see them all the time.
Yeah, like hospitals are haunted.
No, that's just the overworked staff. Like, do you know how hard these people have to work? They do double shifts and they're hallucinating.
Hospitals are the most haunted places on the earth. They're haunted by ambulance chasers.
Yeah, that's true. Fucking lawyers. Yeah, they see now there's your vampires.
No, they do drain you, don't they?
And yes, EM fields, enough EMF does make people hallucinate. That is very correct.
Yeah.
I know someone said it in the chat, so I was pointed out.
Yeah. Sorry.
Well, I remember seeing there was a story about, there was an investigation that they did, and it was about this girl she was having really bad problems, you know, like with real, you know, nightmares and everything else. And anyway, cut a long story short, eventually they came in, right? They tried all kinds of different stuff. Like they tried to medicate her, do all kinds of shit. Then eventually they kind of gave up and they got a guy in to do like an electrical check, you know, on like an emissions check. And it turned out that the radio alarm clock next to her bed was faulty, and it had some kind of emissions coming off it, which was interfering with the sleep patterns. They took out the bedside clock, the clock radio, and boom, solved the problem. So that was actually interfering with the sleep patterns and everything.
Some people are quite sensitive to EM fields.
Yeah, so but that was actually a demonstrable case too. I mean that one can actually be proven. See, now that makes sense, right? And also you can find that people have hallucinations in all kinds of different circumstances.
There are a lot. We were on about this the last time, DDF. There are a lot of places in the world that have a naturally high EM field.
EMF, EMF, yeah,
and that does make people hallucinate.
Yeah, tend to be high iron ore quartz and places like that.
They also tend to be the places where you get the most sightings of not just ghosts, but flying saucers, aliens, fairies, God knows what.
Yeah, but you also got to remember that a lot of people just want some attention, so they'll say any old shit just to get the 50 minutes of fame.
Real quick, Ace of Skulls. Yeah, I have. If I walk about 20 minutes outside my apartment, maybe 25, there is a military bunker from the war. If I walk about 20 minutes the other direction, there is a Soviet military base from the war. So yeah, I have done war locations before.
A Soviet military base. So there'll be a lot of spirits there, but they'll all be vodka.
We had a Soviet military circus, isn't it? Soviet military circus. That's what you said.
It's a different place. The place you're talking about is it was.
No, it's all right. No, I'm joking. No, DDF.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Because then it was like, because I said in the text, it was like, fucking hell, the Russians get circus for the troops. Ours only get TV.
Yeah, the circus was like a mix of circuses, and it just what was it? Was yeah, like I said, there's the Soviet bases that way, the military bases or the war bunkers that way. So yeah, sorry, we're a little bit buzzed already.
Also,
no, I want to ask.
Has anyone ever claimed to have seen a ghost of a horse or a donkey or a dog or a cat or anything like that?
Actually, lots do.
Right. Okay.
Black dogs are a very recognized phenomenon in paranormal.
How would you be able to see them? If it would be at night, wouldn't it?
Because
they just smile.
No, they usually even in the countryside, there's a level of dark and shadows. Yeah, dark shadows are a lot darker than the surrounding area. Plus, black dogs supposed to have glowing red eyes.
So one thing I did notice in the documentary was all the freaking graffiti all over the place, and I really liked the Star Wars one on the wall.
Pulp Fiction. Yeah. I don't know if you watch the intro with the shitty audio, which I'm so disappointed about that audio. In fact, since then I have actually just got a new microphone, so the audio will not be shitty anymore. The box isn't even opened yet. But if you look behind me, there is a giant 20-30 foot gremlin. I think were they gremlins? The ones that if you get wet they like breed.
Yeah, gremlins.
Yeah, there's like a 20 to 30 foot one behind me. That's why I filmed it right there. Is because one, it was on the stage, and two, there's a giant fucking gremlin behind me, and it just looks so cool. But yeah.
By the way,
a lot of that graffiti was pretty cool, and yeah, I remember the gremlin thing. That thing was badass.
The question about the black eyes. Hold on. To the question about the black-eyed kids, no, I do not believe in that. I believe that was made the first story of black-eyed children. What I think was from the 1980s, and if black-eyed children were real, then they would have been around a lot longer before the 1980s.
It was
the 90s.
Yeah, it was because that reporter said they came up to him when he was in his car.
I don't know
the story. I found them fascinating.
It was basically but it's like the thing was they were originally memes, right? And so the trouble is that back then memes could they got a lot more traction back then because they didn't, cause, you know, there weren't so many of them flying, like just pictures coming past you, you know, your face. Memes actually were quite funky.
Got
like
one
black guy kids and stuff.
You know, you get a lot of ghosts in like Cornwall, places like that.
No, you don't.
And yeah, you do.
Actually,
no,
yeah,
you
the Cornwall.
No,
yes,
you don't.
Cornwall
You don't. No, you don't get ghosts. You get claims of ghosts.
Finish.
You got claims of ghosts.
Let me finish.
Finish.
Shut the fuck up.
Go ahead.
Like that, you get a lot of ghosts in Cornwall. The vast majority of them, they actually come from smugglers, because they get a young lad, and he'd wear some really old-fashioned clothing for the time, and he'd be covered from head to toe in phosphorus to make him glow in the dark. And normally those kids died, but that's where a hell of a lot of these ghost stories come from.
There you go. Because he was a glowing kid. Because, you know, they put phosphorus on. I mean, you know, yeah. So basically, well, it's the same thing though with, you know, you got the witches stuff as well, right? I mean, we got that. My mother bought the house that was at one point it was where they used to do the trials for the Pendle Witch, you know, Pendle Witches. I don't know if you know anything about that, DDF. But there was in Lancashire. There was in the northwest of England. It was like, you know, the kind of like the Salem witch trials sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, equivalent. And so they had all of the, you know, all the trials and everything that were actually done in that house. That was where these women were, you know, given their sentences, so to speak. You know, condemned to death. But, you know, surprisingly, I never got woken up by anybody, you know, having a bad day for being burnt at the stake. Odd.
If you ever see Joshua Janice, if you ever see a black-eyed kid, find the kid who beat him up and give him a good slapping.
DDF, by the way, DDF, by the way, why is it that, I mean, I know you don't, I can understand the cost of thermal cameras. And by the way, you know, those things for the mobile phones, they're a scam. They're not really an infrared. It's basically a filter that they put onto a camera. So they really don't work. An infrared camera actually requires quite a bit more equipment to work, you know, to operate. So don't buy one of those little clip-on things for a mobile phone. They're bullshit. Yeah,
like I was saying, like if I get something, I want it to be good at least, you know. So
yeah, and those are a scam. They're really not infrared. Basically, it's basically a red filter that they put over it. So. And then they just increase the intensity. I think there's an intensity that they can increase for the pixel, you know, receivers, or I don't know. Anyway, it's a scam.
Yeah, a lot
but
of these,
have you not thought about getting light enhancing, you know, goggle, you know, like a monocle or goggle or something, because they're cheap. You know, then you won't fall down holes.
A lot of these,
I mean, seriously, you know, because they're cheap.
a lot of these TV shows when you're on about the infrared really cameras, when you see the screen black, but like the walls and that, and the people are greenish hue. It's just normal light, and they've got, like you see, a green filter on. Then they add post production. They add green to the picture.
Yeah, see, we do it all real, as you can see in the upcoming video. Like,
but seriously, you know, get yourself some, you know, some night camera stuff, because that's not expensive, and you know, you save yourself some equipment and, you know, your knees. That's a good idea.
Well, my new Pro camera only my Pro camera doesn't have night vision, so. That's actually something I've been wanting to try anyway, is ghost hunting with light. I mean, ghosts are not going to be afraid of light, and everyone's like, "Oh, you got to ghost hunt at nighttime." It's like, what? Why? What
well, it's easy. Ghosts glow. They're easy to see at night.
I mean,
right.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, they're phosphorescent. They're phosphorescent. They get doused in phosphorus.
Oh, there was this.
They're like Palestinians when the Jews come to visit.
Oh my God.
There was this guy I enjoy watching on YouTube. He doesn't do it anymore. English guy. He was a dwarf. Yeah, but he used to do these "My house is haunted" videos, and he'd be on about like, yeah, there's weird things going on in my house, and you see this guy walking around behind him with the sheet over his bloody body, picking things up, and he's going, "Look at that! Did you see that move?"
The fuck.
No, just taking the mickey out of all these haunted house videos.
There is actually a TV show called "Help Me, My House is Haunted." That's really a TV show.
My God. Yeah,
and it's made by. It's produced by Zach Bagans. Go figure. It's filmed in the UK.
Uh-huh.
Zach Bagans from Ghost Adventures. He's like the biggest paranormal investigator on the planet.
Yeah.
Total bullshit, by the way.
Me. We've also got Jeremy Kyle as well, so we have a lot of things to apologise for. And by the way, Benny Hill, that was not our fault.
Wasn't Jeremy Kyle
bad time?
Wait a minute, what's wrong with Jeremy Kyle? Isn't that that TV show host guy who talks to dysfunctional people like Jerry Springer?
Yeah.
I actually like that show.
Well, you should.
And what's wrong?
Is it fake too? Is it fake too?
Probably. Cabbage, what's wrong with Benny Hill?
Oh, how many ways?
You've got no soul, Cabbage.
I do.
Does anybody really have a soul?
Well, you see, that's the real question, isn't it? Otherwise, you wouldn't be looking for it.
There you go.
Oh, we got deep.
Well, it's almost been 2 hours, so how about the closing thoughts on how you think that documentary went, and tell everybody about it without spoiling it too much. I know it's getting late over in Germany, so I'm not going to keep you.
Oh, by the way, when does it come out, DDF? What's the official release date?
The new Haunted Berlin comes out October 30th on YouTube. All our stuff is always on YouTube, so you can always see it. October 30th, Devil's Night. Yeah, just that day on the channel, it's going to be on there. And
make sure I'm at the Hellfire Club.
Oh, make sure you bring me. Make sure you bring me. Like I said, that's always a place I wanted to go. But yeah, I don't know. I think we caught some interesting things that might have been paranormal. I will never say we catch anything paranormal because it's not proven. There's no evidence of that. Just because we catch sounds or voices or anything like that doesn't mean that's actually what it is. It could just be like someone moving their foot. It could be something that we just don't know what it was.
Yeah.
So
well, let's face it. If you ever caught anything that was quantifiably supernatural, paranormal, you wouldn't be talking to us, would you? You'd be sitting in your palatial mansion somewhere.
I know, shit, right? No, I'd still talk to everybody. Come on. But yeah, exactly. Like if I had that type of, but see, that's what I'm after. I'm after something that can change history. If I could actually prove that there's a ghost, or ghosts or spirits, whatever you want to call it, or demons or any type of that shit, then I would be the first one in history. That's why we rely so much on cameras, because cameras can be tested if the footage has been manipulated or not.
Yep.
So that's, and other people could come forward and say, well, this is causing this. This is why you got that. I actually, before, when I do find something, I actually have a group of people that I talk to that know even more about cameras than I do. And they will help me try to understand if there's something I don't understand. So I don't go, yeah, here we go, here's some ghosts. No, I always talk to people and see, what they think it could be, and then, but yeah.
Oh, Cabbage is half right when he says you can't disprove ghosts, but you can prove there are no ghosts here.
Well, you know, DDF, just, you know, so as you know, if you're intending to set up a ghost busting, you know, business, you are going to have to go transgender at least, because they're all female now. So, you know,
oh, actually, you would actually be very surprised.
We don't.
There's so many paranormal investigators charge, and it's horrible.
How many of them are furries as well?
Okay, I have one final question for you before we wrap it up. How much footage did you have to cut out of that to get it down to what, a 35, 40-minute watch time?
Well, okay, hold on. Like I said, we filmed when Hicks came out here. I think it was like 4 years ago. Give me 2 seconds. I can tell you how much footage we have. Because actually, I didn't do the editing on this video. Hicks did. Hicks is actually a better editor than I am. I fucking hate editing. It's so goddamn boring. Goddamn hard drive, wake up. Haunted Berlin. Wait. Let's see. Properties. I'll try and flip the camera so you guys can see it for yourself. But then I won't be able to see. Can you guys see it? I don't know if you guys can see it.
405 gigabytes, it looks like.
Yeah, 405 gigabytes, 1,535 files. So
of nothing, of just empty space.
Oh, I remember my history teacher back at school on about superstition and that, and like the wizards of old. And what she's saying is, if those people who tried to practice magic at the time had the information, they would have been scientists, because when you look at what they believed and how they wrote it down, it was all in the logic. Yeah, with the information they had to hand, it was all logical and it all followed laws. What they believed were laws. They really were.
Yeah, but they were druidic. They were laws of nature. There was the druidic laws.
Druids never wrote anything down.
Well, if you talk about Astro Crawley, there were laws. Yeah. And I mean,
exactly. No, Druids did write. They had a script.
They had a script, but it wasn't really writing as we know it.
Well, it was symbolic. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of raw. It was runes. We had runes, which is no different than, say, Chinese.
No, it was Ogham script.
You know, it's pictographic instead of being, character based. I mean, it's the same thing as with Egyptian.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna wrap it up right here. I did put his channel link in the description. As he said, that Haunted Berlin #2 comes out on the 30th. Go check it out, guys.
Yeah, you should go and check it out.
Comment on it, and tell them MADDODGE sent you. So take it easy. Good night, good luck, and don't move to France.